Hey everyone, it's Matt Lopez from the Daily Trade. We are here for the first actual week of January. This is going to be an exciting week just because of how many things are going on in the news with the market, and what we can look forward to is right here in the watch list. So right now I'm looking at the SPY futures, and SPY futures, they obviously dropped this morning. Sorry, not this morning, a couple hours ago actually. And that's because of the Iran news. And the Iran news is affecting a lot of things in the market right now. It's affecting defense stocks, oil stocks, the futures. It's expecting to diminish the actual rally that just happened. And we don't want that to happen. Obviously, we want it to continue, but some things have to come to an end. And Iran, with sanctions coming on, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on with even oil. And that's going to switch over to commodities. People are scared of war. Isn't going to happen. You already know that. But commodities is a huge thing to people. And if something goes wrong again, you're going to see a huge thing happen where there's just going to be a surge in commodities. Stocks are going to go down in value. So this week is really intense for the market in general and the global economy. As with Iran news, we can go ahead and look at that real quick. So actually, let me jump back to the previous day recap. So we had the Iran news led to the jump in defense stocks, with the NOC being the biggest mover in options trading during the Friday session, with the guy turning 3,200 into less than $102,000 within his 12-hour period of holding them. Oil surged during the pre-market hours and steady out the rest of the trading day, and it's still continuing It's still going to continue that trend of actually surging. Just because of what's been happening over the weekend. And Tesla in after hours over Thursday night, it fell with the rest of the market. Though pre-market, it came back up after Elon Musk released Tesla numbers on deliveries, which made it surge. And this made it surge because the estimated deliveries that Wall Street had was 106,000. Tesla released their numbers to 369 or 96,000, I believe. And so that's way over what they thought. So you saw Tesla jump from 420 level all the way to 440 and then 454 at open, and then balanced out from there and came down steadily. And so news with what's going on now is Iran. The bombing news is still a huge threat to the global economy. Iran posted an $80 million bounty on Trump for killing of their general. Trump is wanting to impose sanctions on Iraq for trying to diminish the war. And futures continue to go sideways with the price action as nothing is officially kicked off after the bombings. Obviously, no one's gone to war with each other yet. No one's, continued anything brutally to actually affect an actual statement of, like, let's say, go to war or another bombing, we should bomb them. So there's a lot of stuff that we're waiting on for actual continuation of anything. And oil prices continue to rise, obviously, along with the defense stocks. So NOC, we're going to be going over that. GD, RTN, LMT. I'll go over these a bit more in a bit about that. But let's jump over to some Iran news. We can already see Trump's threatened an attack on Iranian cultural sites, and we already saw that over the weekend. And that's also a Geneva Conventions. It's a law. You can't actually do that. From a military standpoint, I already know that because we studied this. It's in our contracts, Geneva Conventions. So Geneva Conventions, you can't do certain things, and one of those is a war crime. And war crimes are, and that's what it includes, is attacking cultural sites that are sacred to the actual culture of where they're at and the people that live there. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and Trump is doing a lot, and he's on social media a lot for this, and it's going to affect a bit of the market. So to lay low this week isn't that bad of an idea. Should you? Probably not. This is a good time to actually gain some value of like how everything reacts to this type of news. Just like the China trade war, you want to see what you can get into while this news is happening. There's a lot of stuff you can still get into. So just to keep that in mind. And defense stocks. Obviously, no, I don't want this ad to be here. So defense stocks, Lockheed Martin, Northrop, Raytheon rally after U.S. kills top Iran commander. So defense stocks, NOC, LMT, and then CVX, XOM. But we're not talking about these. We're going to be talking about these more because these are the huge movers, and there's going to be a lot of options volume in them come the next couple days. So that's pretty much after the Pentagon confirmed the airstrike. Pretty much everything just went AWOL, and you saw a lot of things happen on Friday morning. So Monday is going to be a bigger one just because there's a lot more news into it. We're getting more in depth into this whole thing, and this whole ordeal is going to be a huge cluster that we're going to be really. Some people are going to get screwed over, definitely. I'm sad to hear that some people are actually holding calls over the weekend, and that sucks. I don't know why you would hold calls over something that wouldn't be fixed in one day. So oil prices continue to rise. U.S. stock futures retreat, and obviously that's already told. Like oil prices will continue to rise, obviously, because without the Middle East, we don't have any oil as much. There's a lot of stuff that we have to look for, and why oil prices are surging. And some people don't get it. Hey, why is oil prices surging? Well, that's because a lot of our oil comes from over there, and a lot of our oil is spread across. Obviously, we have oil to sustain ourselves, but we keep it in reserves. And what do? We wait until we can't feed off other countries until we actually use our reserves. It's a good strategy, yes, but the stock market relies on that oil now. So the Middle East tensions there is going to affect that as well. So oil prices, check your gas tank. You might want to fill up before it gets more expensive. That's a huge one. And then just in general, the market's going to be a huge, crazy up and down this week. You're going to see some stocks go up, and you're gonna try and follow them. We're going to be using obviously the call sweeps, the equity signals. There's a lot of stuff we can be using as a team within the daily trade and use our resources to our advantage. So that's a big thing we need to be looking at is our resources. Resources are key. Indicators are key. Charting is key, and you want to make sure that you're getting enough out of it to be able to get in this market and make some profit off it, because you can always make profit somewhere in here. So we can see that SPY futures, they dropped obviously when they opened, and then they're now continuing to rise. There's not much we can actually tell and continue to predict off this, just because it could always bounce. And right here, right out of this 34 MA and come back down to this support. So not too worried about this, but let's pop over to NOC first on our watch list. So obviously NOC, you could already see the volume right after that happened on Thursday. So this is Thursday and then Friday morning in the pre-market. And so pre-market, it just skyrocketed. There was nothing in here. It wasn't that big of a move, as you can see already. Let's see. So a 5.5% move on the stock wasn't that big of a move, but the only reason why people were able to profit off this so much, and it literally was in crazy amounts that no one could ever see, and that's because there wasn't probably enough option volume in it. No one was actually predicting, oh, we're going to go to war with Iran the next day. No one was predicting that or actually expecting that. You're just in at the right time, at the right place, and perfect. So the option volume probably wasn't even there that day. The previous day. So there wasn't a lot that could have been brought in. Somebody that was probably watching it was just looking at this. They held a call. Boom, they made money. Yes. And that's what kicked in right here, is that all the defense stocks just continue to rise, and people made money off this because there were so many people getting the FOMO. FOMO, fear of missing out. People want to jump in those contracts. They think they're going to make money. They end up losing money because the people that made money from the previous day just sold all their contracts. Wow. You cannot expect more, and that is so predictable. People will get FOMO all the time. Same thing with, I can show you real quick. Same thing with Tesla. I had a call from the day before. It came down. I was sad a little bit just because, Tesla came down. I was predicting Elon to release the numbers after hours. If he actually released them after hours, it would have been a little iffy. So what happened is that after hours or pre-market, he was supposed to release them for the deliveries on the stock. I mean, on the Model 3, and so he didn't. But Iran news came out, it came down, and we were so sad when it came down to this. But then he actually released the numbers, and it brought it back. But if it released after hours, it probably would have came back harder. So it's a lot better what he did. He actually saved what could have potentially been worse. So continuing this, it just brought in all the volume and all those people that had FOMO from missing out in the morning. You can see that there's a 440 right here, and it came up to this. It came up to this resistance, and obviously popped over because all the people buying, and people bought in and went to 454 from the previous high of 430 of the day, and they got in, and then obviously I sold, but people were trying to buy right here, buy calls and everything, expecting it to continue and continue. It doesn't work that way, not all the time, and you have to watch for that. So that's where it continued to steady out throughout the rest of the day, and possibly people were mad and lost money. But oh well, that's their fault, because you're not trying to catch the FOMO here. You're trying to make sure you're following the trend, following the money, and not doing the FOMO, things that you shouldn't be doing. GD is another defense stock. I believe it is, right? Yep. Wait, let's check. American Aerospace and Defense Corporation. Yep, pretty much. It's I think they would probably ship some TDT Stock Company. Probably one of those that sell jets and everything to the military. Nuclear-powered submarines and communications. Oh, yeah, already. Well, you can already see that the volume was there in pre-market, and that kind of sucks because the rest of the day it just freaking plopped over. So I don't know where to see with this one. So watch it pre-market. I didn't even look at this beforehand. RTN. Let's go into RTN real quick. Raytheon, perfect setup. That was a great setup from the Thursday, and those people easily profited off that on Friday. Same thing, you made profits off RTN. Not the option volume wasn't there the day before, I guess. People came in on Friday. They got the FOMO. They made their profits because those people came in, wanted those contracts. Those contracts were already priced at such a high amount. So, and you can already see it after hours right here. You continue to see it rise. So probably pre-market, you're going to see it bounce over this resistance, either touch it, bounce back, or just continue. And you're going to see that one candle. You're going to see that one candle prop over, and then you're going to see it continue. Just because it hit right here, it tested it twice, actually. And we're going to see this pop over if you do in the morning. So watch this. Bigger move expected, 232 possibly. And so you just want to make sure you're on your eyes with these and not just following blindly anywhere. So just make sure you're actually going in with a good movement. DPZ is Domino's. Domino's, great stock, great company. They had their earnings last in, let's see, it was October. Yep, October 8th. Man, that was not expected, right? You saw that drop in value in the pre-market, and right at open, friggin' baby came back. It went all the way up to 257 from that low of 228. That was a great day. I was making some profits off that. I remember that from Domino's. But we're seeing on the daily, let me go to the daily real quick. You're seeing this in a perfect consolidation after, you're seeing it in a perfect consolidation in an upwards channel. So you want to see this retest this resistance again. And right now you're at support and you're in a bullish pennant right here. So you want to be careful on where you move because it could easily prop any way. before it actually breaks out. And that's where making sure that you're checking your charts and not just following blindly, because that's a huge thing I try and get out to people, is just not following blindly. You're going to lose money. If you go into signals blindly, you're going to lose money, and not checking everything before you actually do it. So we're looking at a bullish pennant here, and seeing that this is going to prop up sooner than later. And just because earnings, guess what? February 24th, we could see this continue to rise. And if we don't, we're going to see it steady out, consolidate after a small dip, and wait up until earnings. And I want to see that option volume kick in closer to earnings too. Wells Fargo, I've been talking about this for the past couple of days. Wells Fargo has been in that bullish pennant as well. We're waiting on this, and I already planned it out just a bit. So wait for it to touch this 53 level. And it could even continue. It could even, tomorrow, you never know, because you can't predict the future, so don't even think you can. You could always see this prop over and break out tomorrow, but you can't expect that. So we have to go with the most predictable scenario, and that's with it just consolidating a little bit more for a couple of days. Maybe I'm saying about 3 to 5 days, it consolidates and then just props up. So we're looking at this as a bullish pennant. It's been in the call sweeps. It's been doing some pretty good moves here. So you want to make sure that you're in that beforehand, and just making sure when it does prop up, you won't be the last one in. Trust me, if it's on a daily candle, you're going to catch that move before it actually happens, and you're actually going to, or continue to happen. It's going to be in that trend. So you're not missing out on much if you're catching on a daily. You're probably going to miss a little bit extra profit, but you're still going to reap the benefits of doing it on the daily. So just be out for that. Shopify, I can show you this real quick. So Shop's been on that weird turnstile of actually hitting some highs, but it's also very interesting to watch as the NASDAQ with Tesla is also a little bit different from the real market of moving with the rest of the stocks. So these two usually have a little bit different from the market. The rest of the market, they actually continue to move on their own in some ways. So they're not really affected by as much. Obviously, Shopify is still going to, people are still going to be selling on Shopify. People are still going to be doing all this stuff. Investors still want to get into it as it's still cheap, and the future is all about e-commerce. So there's not much to worry about it. It's just about what else can affect the market. And that's what we want to look out for. So you can already see that we already seen the higher lows here. And we want to watch out to what happens in the morning. If it bounces back, you might see a cool play to actually get a call. And that call might come in handy, because that call is going to be a perfect cheap play for a possible 414. This testing the 408 every day, that's a little interesting, and trying to see when it actually is going to prop over. It could prop over any day now, or just smash down with the rest of the market. It really depends, because these two stocks don't really continue with the rest of the market. They're usually on their own, and it's really weird to actually see where they move. And I can show you Tesla as well. Tesla, that was amazing. We already talked about this earlier, so I don't need to go more over that. SPY, we're looking at SPY, but you already saw the future, so SPY will probably open up at 322, which it already closed at. And then we're going to see it consolidate. You can either see it consolidate when a news article or something comes out tomorrow, or Trump tweets. You're probably going to see a dip and then a buyback. And you're just going to see all these investors buy back, because the market's going to rally. It's going to rally for the rest of the year, and nothing's going to happen. You're going to see a lot of buys, and you're going to see the volume in there tomorrow. There's just a lot to expect. Amazon, the rest of the market's going to move. Amazon's obviously going to move, so we're going to watch for that. Man, if you got to put right here at this, you would have been money right here. But just expect to catch Amazon at a different scenario. You might see the fall back to the 1861 level, and then just consolidate. That's where we want to see it just over the next few days. And Amazon is a huge mover, so we want to make sure that we're paying attention to it as well. Even it's on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ obviously is going to affect Shop, Tesla. So let's pay attention to those. Facebook, I want to go over Facebook real quick. Facebook is a perfect daily bearish pattern. Let me go on the daily. Why am I on the 15? So there we go. We are on a bearish pattern right here. We have the actual lower highs right here on wave trend and a lower high right here on the RSI. We have a higher high on the actual stock itself. And this is what is called a bearish divergence. A bearish divergence is an expectation of a drop in value of the underlying stock price. So continuing on, we want to make sure that we're not getting into any long-term plays on Facebook. We want to make sure that we're paying attention to the daily and just, you could scalp it, yes, but longer term, I wouldn't feel comfortable actually getting into it because any day it could always prop out. So we just want to make sure that we're following the trends and sticking to a plan at all times. Other than that, we have seen a lot of movers in the past couple days. We just want to make sure that we're following the money tomorrow and making sure that we're getting ready for the big earnings season coming up. And that big earnings season is obviously coming up. We have Netflix, we got Tesla, PayPal, Microsoft. And PayPal does present itself a nice setup for earnings. Amazon, Twitter, and imagine that stock market continues to rally into the rest of the month just because of earnings. That would be already predictable, as you already saw that in October when we had the news with China. It brought itself down into the first few days of October and then continued to rally as everything else came out. So we have some big movers: Shopify, Netflix, Tesla, PayPal, Visa. We got a lot of big movers here, so we got to make sure that we're paying attention to that. Other than that, I want to thank everyone for watching tonight's watch list and be ready for tomorrow's market. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment, or go ahead and join the Discord where we're actually talking all the time about it. And you can also ask questions in the main chat. So go ahead, everyone. Thank you for watching once again. My name is Matt. This is the Daily Trade. All right. Peace out.